God calls us to awake in Him, how will He find us when He comes?
Awake and ready.
And when He asks us to dedicate our lives ever more perfectly to Him, how will He find us?
Awake and ready.
Let's begin with a prayer. Divine Mother,
Divine Mother,
Heavenly Father,
Heavenly Father,
friend, beloved God,
friend, beloved God,
Gurus of self-realization,
Gurus of self-realization,
Lord Jesus Christ,
Lord Jesus Christ,
Krishna Babaji,
Krishna Babaji,
Hari Mahashaya,
Vladimir Mahashaya,
Swami Shri Teshwarji,
Swami Shri Teshwarji,
Gurudev,
Gurudev,
Paramahansa Yogananda Ji,
Paramahansa Yogananda Ji,
saints and sages of all religions,
saints and sages of all
we
religions,
invoke Thy blessing.
we invoke Thy blessing.
Guide us this day,
Guide us this
and
day,
in every day,
and every day,
to see Thee hidden everywhere,
to see Thee hidden everywhere,
and most importantly,
and most importantly,
in our own self.
in our own selves.
Reveal Thyself.
Reveal Thyself.
Open the veils of darkness
Open the veils of
that
darkness
separate us from Thee.
that separate us from Thee.
Om.
Om.
Peace.
Peace. Amen.
Please be seated.
By remaining in this meditative state, listen to the quality of the week. Service. Service and knowledge. It is a way of offering our human littleness into the great reality that is God. Service should not be given with the thought that one is serving people merely. It should be given with an inward consciousness to the Lord who resides in all creatures. When we serve others in this spirit, we find our own spirits becoming freed from egotism. Peace then fills us in the realization that there isn't anyone with whom we need to compete. What joy to think that we belong to God. Please affirm with me first with a strong, energetic voice. I will serve God through others.
I will serve God through others.
And by my service to Him,
And by my service to Him,
release the hold the ego has on me.
release the hold the ego has on me.
I am free in God.
I am free in God.
In God, I am free.
In God I am free.
Now with a regular speaking voice. I will serve God through others.
I will serve God through others.
And by my service to Him,
And by my service to Him,
release the hold the ego has on me.
release the hold the ego has on me.
I am free in God.
I am free in God.
In God, I am free.
In God I am free.
Now affirm just with a whisper. I will serve God through others. And by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. Now affirm monumentally, silently. I will serve God through others, and by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. Please pray silently with me. All that I do, Lord, I do for love of Thee. Accept the flowers of my service to Thee as I place them on Thy altar of omnipresence. Om, peace, Amen. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Dikshini, and this is my husband Ram. And we are really happy to be here. And today is a very special day for everyone. This is Mother's Day, so I'd like to wish everyone a very happy Mother's Day. Also to those who are watching us online. And this is our weekly reading from the Rays of the One Light by Swami Ananda, which is on weekly commentaries on the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita. This is week 19. The secret of right action. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. One of the most famous stories in the Gospels is that of Martha and Mary. Jesus, visiting the home of Martha, was teaching while her sister Mary sat at his feet absorbing his divine love and wisdom. Martha, meanwhile, busied herself with serving her guests and was upset with Mary for not helping her. "Lord," she cried, "doesn't it matter to you that my sister has left me to do all this serving alone? Please ask her to help me." "Martha, Martha," Jesus answered, "thou art careful and troubled about many things. But one thing is needful, and Mary hath chosen that good part which shall not be taken away from her." The story is classic, for Martha's complaint is very understandable and not on the surface of it spiritually wrong. Jesus may well have told Mary to get up and help her. We don't really know that he didn't, considerate as he always was of others' needs. But the teaching here doesn't concern the obvious dilemma of devotees, to work for God or to spend all one's time in prayer. It concerns rather the attitude of the mind. Jesus didn't tell Martha, "Martha, you are doing too much." He told her rather, "You are letting your work affect your inner peace." That was the contrast, not work versus contemplation, but restless preoccupation versus peaceful absorption under all circumstances. As it says in the Bhagavad Gita, the 2nd chapter, actions performed under the influence of desire are greatly inferior to those which are guided by wisdom. Happiness eludes people when they act from self-interest. Seek shelter, therefore, in the equanimity of wisdom. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind.
Last week, Narayan started off the service with a little joke, and I had thought I'd follow up. The Far Side cartoon is a fun strip by Gary Larson. And, one of my favorite from that cartoon strip was these two mosquitoes. We have a mosquito problem in our neighborhood, and I appreciate these two mosquitoes were buzzing around one day, and they found a certain victim, and one mosquito pierced deep into the skin of this unsuspecting person and began to suck and suck, and it began to expand and expand and expand, and the other little friend was watching. "Betty, Betty, look out, you've hit an artery!" Just before she exploded. Or in our own lives, we have a need to be the divine mosquito and suck on Divine Mother like a leech, and to absorb her life-giving prana and bliss. That's why we're here. And this day, Mother's Day, is such a very special occasion, because every one of us, in order to come physically into this world, we've had a mother, someone who provided the doorway. And you needed a father, as James Brown, the famous soul singer, would say, "This is a man's world. It'd be nothing without a woman or a girl." And it's so true, you know. Life has this beautiful balance, and no matter where you are, you know, you look at all the various insects, the animals. We are into cats, my wife and I, and we've, over the course of time, have harbored over 30 feral cats. But you know, the whole process started with Dolly. Dolly found a place underneath the house where she could have her babies. And then we had one generation after the other of babies that Dolly raised and had, and my wife, she was so sweet and kind. She said, "Well, you know, I've had cats before, and they'll move on when the time period comes."
He was scared. He said, "I don't want hundreds of cats."
And we got to the point where there were 30 cats roaming around the yard. It's like,
Wow.
wow, Mother Nature was manifesting in her full form. But then I began to realize, this is all a part of the Leela. Because we as human beings were also cats. We were also, in the Indian scriptures, it says that we as souls have evolved from the insect level all the way up through the various animal forms and tree life and plants and so forth until we reach the human level of evolution. And even as a human being, at that point, we begin to evolve and understand ourselves on the deepest level, not just on an egoic, animalistic level, but also on a level of divinity. And that's where the teachings of yoga come in. It said that you come to 200,000 lifetimes or more in the lower forms, and then the same number of lifetimes in the human form. Yogananda would say, and this is not the only planet to be born on, folks, as human beings. We might think we're the only ones in the universe, but we're not. We have that expression, what is it? I feel like I'm from another planet. But this evolution goes on and on for all eternity, and it's a beautiful setup. Even, if we were on Mars at one point and we destroyed it, and we moved to Earth to habitate this planet, and we're working on destroying this if we don't wake up. But it's all a part of this evolution of seeing that God is everywhere. That Divine Mother, Mother Nature, is manifesting in everything. Swamiji used to sing this Sanskrit song, Amundim ki habe matara, jobe tara tara, tara bole hobo tara. He would sing this song, and there's just one phrase, that my Divine Mother is everywhere, and she's in all forms, in all aspects of creation. And that's the beauty of Mother's Day, really. It's the celebration of God in creation manifesting all the time. But the most important thing is that manifestation within your own self. That's why we're here. Self-realization is the knowing, as Paramahansa Yogananda said, the knowing in all parts of body, mind, and soul, that you are now in possession of the kingdom of God. That you don't need to pray that it come to you. All you need to do is increase your knowing. And that's why we're here, folks. We're increasing our knowing. Not just here at Ananda, but even as we go and drive in the traffic of LA or go to the Roman Catholic Church and we hear the Mass. No matter where we go, to a Buddhist monastery, we love going out to Trabuco Canyon, to the Vedanta monastery out there. Very sacred vibration. We go to the lake shrine, you see the shrines dedicated to all religions. It's coming to the understanding that God is in us, around us, and in everything that we see. And when we come to the realization of that Divine Mother, Yogananda would say, the mother aspect of God should be worshipped because she is closer than the father aspect of God. I lived many years in Assisi, and we would go to the churches in Assisi. At our Ananda Center, we became very well respected. And in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, God the Father is beyond creation, Yogananda said. God the Son is not just Jesus the Christ, but the Christ, universal Christ consciousness that dwells in the heart of every human being. And that Holy Ghost is the Divine Mother. And that Mother is in every atom of creation. There's that story that Yogananda told when he was in India. He just became a Swami. I guess he was in his early 20s. And he went to the Kali Ghat temple where the goddess Kali has a shrine and is worshipped there in Dakshineshwar. I've been to that place where Yogananda sat to meditate, and he went with his sister and also the brother-in-law. He didn't make any arrangements to have a meal at the temple. He just sat to meditate, and he prayed to the goddess, the Divine Mother, in the form of the goddess Kali, and said, "O Divine Mother, you appear to your son, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa. Why don't you appear to me?" And with the great devotion, he sat in the hot sun all day long, praying and meditating on the image, the murti, the statue, the idol of the Divine Mother there. And that idol came to life. Yogananda found that he describes his breath being sucked out of his body like a mystic syringe. He went into a breathless state where his heart stopped beating. There was no air in the lungs, and he was dancing with the Divine Mother. It's just a beautiful chapter in his autobiography, talking about this divine experience of dancing with the Divine Mother. And then she withdrew back into the form of the goddess Kali, and he came out of his meditation, and it was high noon. The temple bells were ringing for the temple to close. And here comes the brother-in-law and the sister. "You didn't make arrangements with the temple priest to feed us." Divine Mother made arrangements. Just at that time, the temple priest came, and I saw you meditating there, my child. And I knew that you were here for a divine reason. I prepared food for you and your company. Usually we require special arrangements, but here I've seen that you are a sacred son of the goddess, and so they were provided food that day. When you think of your own life and the mother that you chose to come through, it's really a marvelous thing, because we've done it so many times, and sometimes we've done it ourselves. We even as men, we think we've been a man for countless lifetimes. This doesn't work that way. You play different dramas, and you start pinching yourself and seeing yourself in a particular way. You get used to it, and but you need to break that hypnosis and realize we have this divine feminine and masculine within ourselves. We are a part of this great universe which has a dualistic nature, and that's why we're here, is to wake up. I want to read from Whispers from Eternity as a closing. Prayer for expanding love for myself and to all humanity. O Divine Mother, teach me to use the gift of thy love, which I feel in my heart, to love the members of my family more than myself. Bless me that I may love my neighbors more than my family. Expand my heart's feelings, and that I love my country more than my neighbors, and my world and all my human brethren more than my country, neighbors, family, and my own self. Lastly, teach me to love thee more than anything else, for it is only thy love that enables me to love everything. Without thee, I cannot love anything or anybody. God bless you all on your journey to find that Divine Mother within yourself. I think Dikshini wants to say a few words. Would you like to say something, sweetheart?
Just a little short.
After our meditation this morning, she said she felt inspired. So
Yesterday, Ram asked me, "Would you want to say anything tomorrow?" My first answer, no. But last night when we went to bed, a few things just popped up in my mind, and I thought that really maybe I should share that. That was the thought which came to me, that often I think about this life as it was a big puzzle which for me sounds very scary, because I think that until I put all the pieces of the puzzles into their place, I cannot get out of this cycle of life and rebirth and again and again and again. And but then I realized that I am not alone in this. There is someone. There is like a divine magician who helps me in this this tremendous job. And this magician who is not else than Divine Mother is all around us, all around me, and most importantly within me. And I don't have to do anything else, just to let her do her job and not to put different obstacles in front of her, because every time when I am scared or I have anxiety, I have doubts and questions, then I block the flow. And many times I am fearful, and I know exactly if I don't go to that little hill and I don't go on the top of that hill, I will not see what is beyond that. Like those little turtles, they are digging in the little pond, and one is brave enough to get on the hill and sees the giant, huge ocean. So why would I not want to get there? And there is a very sweet story with Ram. In 2008, Ram decided that, okay, we will go to Italy. There was a very special occasion. Swamiji's new book, in that time, The New Path, had its Italian version book launch in Rome. And that was a time when I still had only a green card. And I was scared to death to step out of the country, because I wanted to be only in America. I didn't want to go to Italy, nowhere. And then there were a few guru guys, and they said, just let it happen. Nothing will happen. So anyway, we decided, okay, we go. And in that time, Ram was working for a company called Hijas, who kind of reimbursed him in a way that he got points from every flight and hotel stays. Anyway, we had a lot of points, so we decided to go with the points. Of course, we didn't have any money, but we had the points. So we bought our flight tickets with points, we booked our hotels from points, we rented a car from points. There was only one thing, that this was related to Marriott, so we had to stay at the Marriott hotel. And we had so many points that Ram decided that he wanted to invite Swamiji to stay with us in the Marriott. And Swamiji was very sweet. We were talking through his secretary, Lakshman. And he said, well, it's wonderful, Ram, but Swamiji has a kind of entourage, 4, 5, or many people, and these points wouldn't cover those stays, and he has to stay with them. So anyway, we said, well, what can we do? Then we just stay in the Marriott, and we will just commute to the hotel where Swamiji was going to stay. It was called Hotel Centrale, I think, something like that. And it was about just a few days before our departure, then that Lakshman called and told Ram, you won't believe. This Hotel Centrale was qualified to a Hotel Marriott.
It was transferred to become a Marriott in those days.
So
just miracle.
not miracle, this was Divine Mother.
Yeah,
this was first class. And then we said, oh, that's hallelujah. So we placed our reservation to that Hotel Marriott Centrale. And we were staying on the very same floor with Swamiji, and we just wanted to be in his proximity, because everything just happened like divine arrangement. And we also had a wonderful opportunity to have an interview with Swamiji. So we went into his room, and one of our questions was that, Swamiji, what is our next step? What are we supposed to do now? Where? And I just loved his answer, and this was Swamiji all about. It's just so simple and so sweet. He said, Ram, it's very natural. You live on the East Coast, you work on the East Coast, you stay on the East Coast and you support Ananda on the East Coast. Nothing special, and I just love that how he approached everything. What is the natural way to approach all problems or questions? And I myself, and I'm sure all of us here, we are so much blessed having Swamiji in our lives. He taught so many things, how to just how to be touched, how to allow ourselves to be touched by the Divine Mother. And yesterday we have those two books from Jyotish and Devi, Touch of Love and Touch of Light and Touch of Joy. And I thought that all of us, from our little lives, we could write a book, and that could be called Touch of Divine Mother. Mm-hmm. And anyway, I just want you to share this. Thank you.
Thy